hold on. Let me just play this clip right quick.
Is she what? I don't know. I just, with my eyes, I couldn't see if she's Caucasian or not. So I think what we're trying to say is what the WNBA currently has is what we like to describe as a cash cow. There is a superstar. And we're not saying that the players on the court need to act any differently. That's the athletes are going to do what athletes are going to do in any sport. And I think we're all learning that WNBA, that's old school football, baby. That is old school football. But I would like the media people that continue to say, this rookie class, this rookie class, this rookie class. Nah, just call it for what it is. There's one white bitch for the Indiana team who is a superstar. And is it because she stayed in Iowa, put an entire state on her back, took a program from nothing to a multiple-year success story? Is it because she would go on to break the entire points records in the history of the NCAA? Not just the women's record by Kelsey Plum, shout out, but also Pistol Pete Maravich's, the dude's record as well. Is there a chance that people just enjoy watching her play basketball because how electrifying she is, what she did, what she stood for, how she went about going, what she went for? Maybe. But instead, we have to hear people say that we only like her because she's white. And she's the only popular because the rest of the rookie class is doing what they're doing. Well, that's a bunch of bullshit. And we think the WNBA, more specifically, their refs need to stop trying to screw her over at every single turn. What you have is somebody special. And we're lucky she's here in Indiana. And that was, guess which, WNBA rookie.
Pat McAfee. I guess he watched us this morning. And Lord, he had some coffee. He probably had an energy drink. Do we have his sound? We can't play his sound. Monica. Well, I know you heard. I know you've heard it by now. I think Pat got a little bit too amped. He forgot, like, man, this live. This, normally we have a conversation like this, Monica. You and your girls off air, but we got a microphone and we got a camera with a red dot going. So what did you think when you heard P-Mac start going?
So I didn't actually watch it, but I read the transcript and all the articles that came down. Honestly, y'all, my first thought was, okay, here we go with this not being about race. Right? From a person who is white, right? And again, this is where I say, and I'm speaking honestly, clearly, concisely, this is where I say multiple things can be true, right? I wonder what this would look like if Caitlin Clark was black. She's proud of who she is. That's fantastic, right? But this is where all the layers of this conversation come in.
Right.
The WNBA is a predominantly black women's league. It's also largely a queer league, right? And the gender, sexuality, race, it's hard to parse this out of that conversation, at least for me as a woman, because I can't walk away from any part of who I am, right? And so his point about other white chicks in the league that have been buckets, sure. Stewie's the MVP. KP has won multiple championships with the Las Vegas Aces. DT, obviously, we had a conversation about her as a GOAT, right? But to act as if there is no space to sit back and just wonder, again, all I'm asking for folks that have just joined is to open your mind. Ultimately, you may disagree, and that's fine, but you should be able to hold space to evaluate all the pieces that seem to be at play. Now, if you decide to pick up 3 instead of 6, that's on you, but you got to be able to sit back and acknowledge all the pieces at play, just out of respect for humanity at large, I would say.
What the fuck was she talking about?
Bruh.
She had no point. She had absolutely no point.
I'm surprised he called her just a bitch. That's what that shit stuck out like a motherfucker.
Well, that's what he was talking about. He said he must have forgot he was live because I thought that was somebody's private show, but I guess that was ESPN.
Yeah, that had an ESPN logo in the lower corner. And he was like this, bitch. But then you know why? I bet nobody really kind of picked up on it because he was actually congratulating her and supporting her and backing her up. He just threw it out there. I thought that was.
But you see the difference between that guy and the guy. I mean, I think that guy right there had some kahunas. You know what I'm saying? To make a statement like that.
Yeah, man. He just called the thing a thing.
That guy right there was white. Let's not gloss over that.
So
and had that been a brother saying what that guy said, we would be talking about that right now. Because that would be
white privilege right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He gonna get reprimanded, but he's not gonna get hit as hard as a black man would. He actually makes more than Stephen A. Smith. Pat McAfee has a good show. That's a slip. I think he want to take that back. Not a real good look. I don't think he's that type of guy. If you watch a plethora of his episodes, he's fair, he's even kill. Be flawed as human, so you know that's one that you would like to see him as loud as the offense should be as loud as the apology. He needs to get back on the show and be like, you know, I said something that could have been taken wrong. He just, you know, take his.
The whole thing is white privilege.
I think that it's white privilege, and to somebody's point that made it, I think it was B2. You're right. If he was speaking about a black lady that way, he would have been taken off the air, but he wasn't. He was speaking about the another white privileged person, and he is white, and you know, to each his own. I'm not even damning it. It is what it is. But the point being, again, what I said earlier, and why I stood on it. Entertainment exceeds a lot of what we're talking about politically, whether we're talking about sports or music. Entertainment kind of puts you in another threshold, because again, they are having talking points that entertain us. We are sitting here, this whole world is a stage, it seems like. And we're sitting here playing characters and evaluating characters.
Hey, yo, Kenny, how does Pat McAfee make $85 million on a 5-year contract, and Stephen A. Smith only makes $60 million on a 5-year contract? I ain't never heard of Pat McAfee until today.
Pat McAfee's show has been popping, and per the views on his show, that's what he negotiated. Say he's a better negotiator, got better people around him than Stephen A. Smith. Chalk it up to that.
I'm not into sports. You know, I don't do professional sports. So
whose
ratings are better?
He was a kicker.
Whose ratings are better?
His.
Oh, okay. Well, again, I don't know sports either, but what's interesting, we mentioned it earlier. We said that's his job. That's a very convenient conversation. I use DJs who got into radio. Their job was to break music, bring us to the more exciting things, bring us to make the stories or the records that people didn't know about. They fell victim to the system, so to speak, and allow the system to dictate the direction of their job. And that's happening to Stephen A. in this environment in the same way that it's happened to a lot of my DJs who used to have leverage, had a name for themselves prior to getting on radio. Then they got on radio and they started playing what was told to them, told for them to play. They started taking, not taking the leverage and liberty to play things and break records any longer because they were afraid to lose their job. And so while I hear that is his job, I understand, and he understands that he's playing that tight rope very, very. He's walking it very clearly to where he's not jeopardizing his job ever, but wants to go ahead and have the balls and be arrogant to say what he want to say when he want to say it. As long as his people don't say nothing about it, he good. But he don't dare cross that line when the people will. He knows he's going to get pushback from his people about talking about it. So. Yeah, it is his job. I grant it. But the point is, he has a lot of leverage that he's not willing to risk. And he doesn't have the balls, as Darwin said, to speak about certain things. And then he'll say and use the out of, well, it's just not popular. Well, you're the person who's supposed to make it popular. You're the person who's supposed to bring the new players to our attention who are coming up. The new Edwards, whoever it might be. That's your job. But you don't take that liberty to do your job when it comes to risking your job, so to speak.